Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our Cube Table Talks. My name is Dr. Marcia Burton-Tiggs, and I'm one of your hosts. And on this podcast is our Cube because we keep it real,
we keep it relevant,
and we keep it raw. And then next to me, I have our other co-host.
I'm Pastor Man. I just slid off the chair, so don't judge me, okay? I am here, and you can't tell. We keep it real, we keep it relevant, and we keep it raw. And so we're excited to be at this episode of our Cube, and we're gonna move into our first segment. We're going to be talking about what's good, church.
Yes. Shout out to the North American Division, our religious liberty leaders for sponsoring us with these shirts. Yes, you can have faith and also participate in politics. Yes. All right. So shout out to them. So let's get into it. And y'all know these guys already. Y'all might want to say your names though.
I'm Jordan.
Solomon.
Okay.
Yep,
yes.
Jordan and Solomon. Yes. These are our brother, our family brothers, our cute brothers.
Yes. So let's go into what's good, church.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
All right, we're back in our segment called What's Good, Church?
What's good?
For those who are just joining us, this is a segment where we talk about all things church. Specifically, we are Seventh-day Adventists, and so we talk about some of the things that's happening in the Seventh-day Adventist church, and we just like to give our perspective as young adults, as members, as people within this denomination. And so today's What's Good, Church is personal.
Mercy.
Because I don't know if you all have been paying attention online. I mean, it's been going on since the beginning of time, but in recent months and weeks, there have been some Christian, let me say it one more time, Christian podcasters that have been coming for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, y'all. They've been comparing us to Mormons. They've been comparing us to Jehovah's Witnesses.
And then straight up saying we're a cult.
They say we're a cult. And then they had the audacity to say that basically they're saying that we aren't really a part of the Christian denomination and Christian religious sect. So let's get into it. So as you can see boldly on your screen, the topic is the Adventist Church. And then we're just going to get to it. Are we a cult or not? I'm gonna let y'all go because I could talk about this.
Go ahead, Jordan, because you ready.
I mean, so by definition, what is a cult? It's a system of religious variations and devotions directed toward a particular figure or object. That's general. I mean, anybody can say, you're a group of people that has these religious agenda, or you have this direction. Absolutely not. From what my understanding is, cults, they're not engaged with society. They off to themselves. They have extreme views or practices or beliefs. I always think of Jim Jones, like how he was making everybody drink the Kool-Aid. Exactly. So absolutely not. When it comes to being a peculiar people, being separated from the world,
the Bible tells us
we do. I try to live like that, because if I'm doing everything that the world is doing, then Satan has me. Satan got me drinking the Kool-Aid. So as far as being different or not being of the world, yes, I do stand behind that, and I try to, because Christ was like that, and my relationship with Christ is the most important thing, period. And if it looks similar to the world And I find that in the Adventist church, like my Adventist brothers and sisters, we share the same beliefs. We believe in the same things. We love the same things. Like, and that's the family that I like to be immersed in. Like, and outside of that, like, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but yeah, that's just how I feel.
You believe in the Bible in its entirety.
You better testify. You better testify. I think for me, like you said, the definition of a cult is a group of people that subscribe to a certain set of beliefs and uphold one particular person, right?
Right.
So let's just talk for real for a minute. So Muslims revere Muhammad as their nobody calls Muslims
That'd be a cult.
being a cult.
And they got extreme.
And they had some
extremes.
very extreme views, right? And I feel like we use cult as a tagline of negativity to say, oh, well, we are outcasting you, or you guys are outcasts of the society. It's the new version of bullying in the religious system, right? Y'all are a cult, so we don't mess with y'all. However, if you live in the world today and you don't subscribe to a set of moral beliefs, you're going to be blowing in the wind. And so, for me, I get it. You go to church on Saturday, nobody else does that. It feels weird. Oh, you don't wear a bunch of jewelry. Even if you do, that's your thing. That's just not my thing. Oh, you're weird. You must be a part of that cult. Y'all remember one, it was a Friday afternoon. It wasn't Sabbath yet. I was getting my nails done. Yes, Adventists do that. And so, some Adventists would say that. And so the lady was like, "Oh, let me hurry up." And I was like, "Well, I need to be finished because I need to, I have some other things. I need to go to church, whatever." And she was like, "Oh, you one of them 7-day Advantage people?" And I was like,
They
"No, I'm
always
7
say
day."
Advantage. They
I
always
was
say
like,
Advantage.
"Yeah, no, I'm 7-day Adventist." She was like, "Oh, well, let me hurry because I know y'all gotta get in. When y'all get in, if y'all don't be inside before sunset, y'all gonna melt, or like God gonna get mad at y'all and strike y'all." This is what somebody actually believed, that like if we weren't in the house by the time the sun set, we were gonna melt.
And the crazy part about it is Adventists aren't even as strict as Jews when it comes to sunset to sunrise. Like Jews won't even use certain, especially the Orthodox and the strict ones, they won't even use electricity.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because that's like a quote unquote sin. But yeah, anyways. Solomon, what you
well, to your question, Marcia, you asked, are we a cult? Well, we're not a cult. We're a movement. We're an Advent movement at that.
Right.
I like that.
Presenting the Advent message. So I believe we're a movement. We're not a cult.
Yeah, no, folks. We're definitely not a cult. I mean, if you want to say there's cult, then okay, what was Jesus? Jesus had how many people that rode with him? He had 12, right? 12. He had 12
Before
people.
that, it was about between 50 and 72.
Yeah. So he had a select few that rode with him at all times, and he dealt with the masses when
he
it
did
was
some
a need.
peculiar things.
That's the thing. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just got excited about that part. Like, we're the most inclusive group. Like, if we're talking about sinners, and we're all sinners, we're all born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Like, that's who we welcome. That's who Christ invites in to his fellowship, his family, and that's transcendent to me. Like,
what I don't like is that people take religious practices and consider that cultic. That is not true by any means of sorts. No. Any organization that you're affiliated with is going to have their own rules, regulations, guidelines, systems, and practices. What I'll say about the Adventist church is the fact that when you look at the 27, 28 fundamental SDA beliefs, all of our beliefs, one by one, actually come straight from the Bible.
Right.
They are not in human form. Now, when you talk about practices, that's relative. In every religious sect, you're always going to have your extremists. You're always going to have your free-spirited and truly lackadaisical liberal. And then you're going to have your moderates that's in between the two. Look, the Kojic church, let's use them for example, and Pentecostal people, they were like, if you show your ankle, you're going straight to the pits of hell. If you show...
And that's after we beat you for showing
Yes. But everybody is not like that in that church. You know, when we look at Kiara Sheard and like some of these other people, they're like, no, we can be fashionable.
Right.
Yeah.
We can still be decent and be a part of the ministry and still hold it down. So taking those, like you say, having a respect for Sabbath observant, taking that to mean quote, or we don't eat certain things, or we don't be certain ways. That's what God has called us to be. He wants us to be a light. He wants us to be salt.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be salt. Everybody can't be the light.
And the reason why God calls us to be salt and light is because in this world it's needed. Like it's so funny that when I do something within my religious practice that I ascribe to as my moral compass, I'm said to be in a cult. But if you go to work for Target, you're not gonna work for Target and wear a blue shirt.
Correct.
If you work for Target, you will wear red.
Yes.
Because that's what Target
That is
does,
Target.
right?
Yes.
And we don't call Target a cult because they have a way they do things. If I work for Chick-fil-A, I'm gonna wear that red outfit, and when I serve you your food, I'm gonna say my pleasure. So because they say my pleasure, they're a cult. Like we only ascribe that to people or to religious groups because we want, like, if they do something that's different. But in the world, because Chick-fil-A does something different, we love Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In the world, because they do something different, we love them. But in the church, if we do something different, oh, y'all are exclusive, or oh, y'all are called. It's just everybody else can be peculiar except for church people who gotta be exactly the same or else. That's the reason they crucified Jesus. Jesus was in his day weird. Like, what you mean, Jesus, we gonna hang out with the prostitutes and the drunkards?
Right.
Like, Jesus, what you mean we gonna feed all these little kids? Jesus, what you mean we gonna go hang out? Like, what do you mean, Jesus? This is, we don't, why are you picking wheat on, what are you doing? So it's like, read your Bible. Know what the Bible says, and then do what the Bible says. And I guarantee, one, you're going to have more peace. Two, people going to think you're weird.
Yeah, we got to come back to a part two because another issue I have, if you're going to group us with people and say we like people, have your facts straight. The fact that you said that we are like Jehovah's Witness and Mormons, that is so far from the truth. First of all, these sects don't even believe in Jesus. They don't believe in a Godhead. They don't believe in the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
That part.
Racism is through and through. And folks,
child brides.
if you look at the Mormon church, the money.
Mercy.
The $1 billion industry. We wish we was with some of them dollars. So no, we got to come back because we have to, as Seventh-day Adventists, know what we believe in and know where it's found. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to associate yourself with this religious belief because you are sure that we believe in the Bible in entirety, we have to know, and we have to, folks, stand up against all of these naysayers and all of these people coming up with these things that aren't true. So on part two, we're going to break down some statements that are completely false. Like Ellen G. White is related to the founder of the Mormon church.
Right.
What?
That part.
Just because they're all Caucasian? Are you kidding me? We're going to, I mean, some of these people in there, it just infuriates me. Colorism is real. Like some of them believe that if you're born of a darker hue, that you actually are like bad. And they don't understand that God formed humans from the ground and the earth. What color is dirt?
What color is Adam and Eve contained the genetic makeup of every single person.
Right.
Like you can have one, like you can have two people. Come on, we know genetics who are light skinned and give birth to a dark skinned baby because there's dark skin in their genetics somewhere down the line.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It gets so we could be on here for days,
Absolutely.
y'all.
But in the meantime, while we wait for part 3, I teach a 28 fundamental beliefs class here at Oakwood University. And so if you want to know more about what you believe and why you believe it, come on down to Oakwood. If you're not in the area, come on, go to college here. Come on, take my class where you can learn what you believe and why. And I love that class. That's why I teach it. And I teach it to the freshmen and sophomores because you need to know what you believe and why you believe why you believe it. Right. And here's the thing. If you don't believe it, know why you don't believe it. Don't just be like, I don't do that. Or, I'm Adventist adjacent because they're a cult. You don't even know what Adventists actually believe. You're just saying that because that's what sounds good.
Because
to
you
say.
ran in that one church auntie that told you that your skirt was too short, then you adjacent. Come on, folks, it's bigger than that. So know what you believe in, know where you found, and folks, we got to start speaking out about this. Make this go viral, because I'm tired of the naysayers going viral and then we are silent. No, God told us to stand up. He said, be bold, holy boldness. And so we're coming in holy boldness and denouncing all things cultish for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We are nobodies trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody.
Does that sound like a cult? We don't know that.
No.
All right,
No.
so we're moving on to the real world. This is getting even spicier in here. As you can see, we're on fire. So let's go jump into the next segment, real world.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
All right, we're back.
We are back. Y'all, we were in here getting heated even in the little break. And so we are back with real world segment. All right, now. Listen, I was talking to some of my young people and I said something that was like, no Diddy. And I was like, okay, so now it's a whole thing, a way of letting people know. Yeah, they always saying something to let you know, like, no Diddy, no Diddy. And so no Diddy is like this whole movement of saying, I am not a assailant. I am not a harasser. I am not a abuser, right? And so we know the video clip went viral recently that P Diddy, who claimed to not have done anything wrong, he was seen in the video dancing by, he's not gonna have no charges and all of this stuff. The video came out of him assaulting ex-girlfriend and singer Cassie, who I used to like Cassie back in the day. I felt bad when I saw my sister getting beat up in the hallway. And so he really beat her up, beat this girl up, abused her. He was kicking her, dragged her back to the room, was throwing things at her. And so the surveillance video from the hotel was released. And so now everybody even people who were like, oh, Diddy didn't do it, it's like, oh, no Diddy. And so this is a whole thing that has come out now about abusers in the industry, abusers who publicly say, no, I'm not an abuser, and then get found out later on. And it's definitely something we don't talk enough about in the church. Now, we have a movement called End It Now within the Seventh-day Adventist Church. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. It talks about how to identify and escape domestic abuse. But one of the things people kept talking about was, why did she go back? Right? She gets beat up in the hallway and then she goes back. And this is like one of the incidents. And so I think it's important for us to talk about that. Like, one, why do we let abusers get off? But also, two, why do, when we see stuff like this, blame the victim for going back?
Okay, before we get into that, I want to put, the legal education in me cannot let us be led astray in this conversation. I want you all to know, everybody's like, he needs to go to jail for this, he needs to go to jail for this. There is a thing called the statute of limitations. And so for those who are not familiar with that term, it simply means that a case is open for X amount of years. And then once that year ends, it could be 10, it could be 15, it could be 20 years. Once you get to the expiration date, that person can no longer be tried for the particular thing that they could have been tried for. So will he go to jail for Cassie and that video? No.
Short answer, no.
He will not go to jail on criminal charges. Also, let me just say, whenever somebody pays somebody else off quickly, folks, there is some truth in what that person is alleging. If it was not, they would not get their money so quickly. I told my husband when it first came out back in November where she filed, and then less than 30 days she got that check. I told him, I said, oh, he made that go away quickly, because it's true. So that now addressing the comment that you made, and I want to say my prayer is with anybody who is in an abusive situation. We do not take that lightly. It is very serious. It is not an easy situation. So I'm praying for you all. But I will say this though, being the victim of different things, and a lot of women and men are not just physical abuse, but emotional and verbal abuse.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't realize that you're in an abusive situation until somebody else shows you something different.
Yeah.
So in her situation, and for anybody who's experiencing, especially domestic violence, I always give those people grace. And don't get so hard on them about, why did you go back? They did you like that. You went back because you don't understand the type of hold.
Yeah, there's a lot of power and control.
Psychological.
That's psychological, right? The psychological hold that people have, an emotional hold that people have. And then let's just be honest, the industry is doggy dog. Okay?
Yeah.
We all know that Diddy, even now, even with all the stuff that's going on, he's a very powerful, very influential man. And many of the people that were affiliated with him were not low level. They made it to the very top. So, hey, it's like, okay, I got beat down. I'm sad about that. This was horrible. I was trying to escape, but I got my career on the line.
My career on the line. Because you're not just my boyfriend, you're my boss.
You're my
so
boss.
if I make you mad, you can easily blacklist me from every
so you had too many strings. You had you had the sexual connection too. People have an issue with soul ties and all that stuff. We're gonna talk about that too. But when you get physical with somebody, there's an exchange that is spiritually related, people. That also is bounding. We don't know her backstory. I don't know if she was abused as a child. I don't know if this is something that she had just trained herself to deal with trauma. So I think that it's very tough for us to say why she did. I think it's a multifaceted answer as to why. What I will say though is that I feel for her and everybody else who's in this industry who have talent. Like you said, she's a good artist who have talent that's just beat down. I mean, come on, folks. And it's crazy because y'all in the video, and I'll let somebody else talk, he never would go there with her in the face. Because he knew he needed her face to stay pretty to sell. He would always beat her lower extremities, things that can be covered, things that can be hidden. And so it's just horrible when you look at the details of this situation, of that video. The video is hard to watch in and of itself. And you see that he's like, and I know people are like, well, that's just an excuse, but I seriously think he was possessed and not within his own mindset, whether it was drugs, whether it was anger, whatever it was, that was animalistic. He was acting in an animalistic manner. I'll let you talk.
I personally think it was disturbing because, I have 5 sisters. I'm married with a mom. So, watching that video, what he did to Cassie, that was very, disturbing and very uncomfortable. So definitely, my heart definitely goes out to Cassie and those who experience domestic violence, particularly women. And of course, hopefully, in the months and days to come, we'll see if he gets prosecuted or not. So,
it's not gonna, like Marcia pointed out, like he probably can't be brought up on criminal charges for that video, for that abuse, but it definitely plays a part with the current situation he's in, his legal situation now. It shows his character. It shows what type of person he is. And with Cassie, for women, y'all have a whole different struggle that I'm still learning about. And my wife was the one that pointed out to me with this particular issue. She's like, it's funny because no one says anything about him because they say that she's a gold digger, she's just after a check and stuff, until a video like this surfaces. Then it's like, oh, now she has a voice. Now people listening to what she's saying or what she's tweeting about or whatever. And my wife is like, how come it has to come to that? How come it has to come to something like this being released? And what if it never got released? We never heard about her story or all of this stuff. That's true.
So my question though is, why do you think that there is such a rampant amount of abuse in the music industry? It just makes it hard. I have a daughter right now who she loves to sing. Mommy, listen to me sing. Mommy, listen to me sing. Mommy, one day I'm gonna be on America's America Got Talent and all that stuff. And then my mom, I'm like, no, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking about the R. Kellys and I'm thinking about the P Diddy's who capitalize on young talent. And it's like, you want your children to be great. You want them to thrive, but then it's like at what expense?
Keep
you know
them
what I'm
safe.
saying? Because it's not just, and let's just be clear, this is not just R&B. This is not just hip hop. Because people are rap music.
Oh, no, in the gospel?
In the gospel
Oh,
world,
that's-
they got
that's
their
everywhere.
own stuff.
Yeah, everywhere.
Nickelodeon, Disney Channel,
Oh,
all
that's
of these
terrible.
different
Yeah, it's
things.
so heartbreaking.
And so
Yeah.
why do you think that in the industry there is so much depravity?
It's quite clear to me, if you read the Bible, who was basically second in command and had the most talent?
Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer
He
musician.
could sing every part at the same time. Like, this was what he did. Of
Music
course,
business.
he's going to make that area, and I'm just focused on music because you started there. He's going to make that area the most because
Yeah.
that was what he specialized in. Think about even in our church, the issues that we have in our music departments, in our music,
True.
because
Yeah.
that is his thing. That was his talent. He was the choir director.
Yep.
He was over all of that. That was his specialty. So honestly, I don't think that we always try to separate the Bible from reality, and the Bible
done.
is reality. History just repeats itself.
Right.
The musician, the head musician, convinced how many angels
Third.
to go with him?
That's a lot.
So think about the music industry. You're talking people who have power, where people will kill themselves for music artists. Literally, what's the Barbs, the Beehive,
Right.
what's Taylor
Swifties.
Swift, the
Swifties.
Swifties.
Yep.
These people are insane. Like,
Yes.
they will literally sacrifice their kids on the altar.
Name their
of
kids
them.
after them.
So I think that the power and the wicked and evil is in that place because of who is over it.
Right. I think that's another like altar that we worship at, like fame in the music industry and stuff, like which aren't bad things. Like those can be good things, but when it's the center, when like Christ is on the peripheral and that's the censor, then yeah, it can. I mean, Christ created those. Christ invented music
Of
and
course,
worship and
of
stuff.
course.
So those things aren't bad things. Those things are beautiful because he created
He
it.
literally
Sounds
inhabits in our praises.
Exactly.
He has angels singing holy, holy, holy all day,
All the
all night,
time.
so it's not, but that's what I believe. I believe that you have a person, you know, the Satan is the master of deception. And so he likes to take things that are beautiful and turn them into
Counterfeit it.
make them horrible. And so that's really what I believe. What I found very sad though, and I'm glad Cassie prayerfully is not going to be a victim of this, is people who start speaking out the truth, that start going there. Usually those people end up
Dead.
Yeah,
Yep.
blacklisted.
I
or-
mean,
yeah.
I'm not gonna
yeah.
start on this because we'll be like, oh, she's conspiracy
'Cause
theory.
you know-
But if
No,
you
no.
go down
Kim
the
Barnes.
line, yes,
Right.
or Biggie,
Right.
you know, or Michael Jackson, like you start looking and peeling
Yeah.
back the layers. Most of the time, when these people are dying off, there's some issues with the money,
Yeah.
and where does the money come from?
Those industries,
Management.
those
Yeah,
management.
it just makes it. I find it sad because I mean, and yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a pastor. But I grew up listening to Diddy. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I didn't. You know what I'm saying? But those were some of the songs that I grew up listening to. That when I would hear the music and be like, oh, I remember that Jay. Like those were my jams back in the day. Come on, we keeping it
Nostalgic,
real, right?
reminiscing.
And so you think about these people who are extremely talented are oftentimes the ones behind the most wicked acts and the depravity. So I just think also being selective in what you listen to, who you listen to, and then for real, y'all, like you can't support that. Like when we listen to it, we put checks in their pockets. So don't be online advocating against domestic violence, but you still playing R. Kelly and P Diddy at the cookout.
Yeah, it's tough. This is a very tough situation. Prayers for Cassie and any other person who has talents that have to experience this level of abuse. It's embarrassing. It is traumatizing to see, yourself and to relive those moments. And then it's sad for people like Diddy. These are people that people looked up to and aspired to be and have so much influence. He has children. I mean, it's just all just terrible. I'm curious to see how this situation plays out. Cat Williams told us all 2024 is the year of revelations, and man, we've come in hot, and we're not even at month 6 yet. So, Lord Jesus, come Lord Jesus is all I gotta say. But the real world is real, so we'll keep you all abreast. For those of you all who are like, that's worldly, we can't be talking about this. It's life. Our young people, even younger than us as young adults, our teens and tweens are experiencing this abuse, and they have to know it's not okay.
And they're talking about it. They're talking about it. They're laughing about it. Why you like, we're not going to talk about it? They're laughing about it. So we have to talk about these kinds of things, because we need to discuss how to identify it, how to see it, how to believe a victim. And so we're going to talk about it, because guess what? God has called us to be in the world, but not of the world. But we can still do good and be a part of the world. We can't just be completely oblivious to everything that goes on. So part of why we do this kind of segment is so that way, as Christians, we have a Christ-centered world view of world things.
Amen.
So I think it's time to switch to our next topic.
Yeah, let's get in our feelings. This is a juicy one too, man. We're coming in hot this episode. Stay tuned.
Our feelings.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
All right, so we're back and we're gonna get all the way in our feelings. Read the screen.
Mercy.
Should a
Make
woman
sure my bun is on good, because we have to talk about this.
propose to a man?
Yes.
We got somebody out the
Wait,
gate.
did you just say yes?
Whoa, we're coming in hot.
Wow, yes.
Folks, this is real. It's various photos and videos trending on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook of women getting down on one knee, all ages, all sizes, all colors, all races, ethnicities, getting down on one knee and proposing to men. We're going to start with Jordan, since he was like,
Okay, I'm sorry. Like, okay, so we live in a Western political cultural world, right? And those beliefs have been like passed down from generation to generation. I'm not saying that they are wrong. I'm not saying that they are right. But if we live in a society that says it's sexist, women should do this, women should act like this, women should have these roles, men should act like this, men should have these roles. I mean, come on, it's 2020. If she's waiting for him to propose, say for example, not me, because I love my wife, and you know I'm just so swaggy and cool like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But if there's a man,
What is happening on this side of the table right
if there's
here?
a guy that's not like that, she's gonna be waiting all day for him to propose, because he may not be secure enough with his emotions or his feelings.
If he's
to
not
step
secure
it up,
enough with his emotions
But-
to step up, then he's not ready to be
But she might bring that secure side of him out. She might be the one. It's some women, it's some really strong black women out there. Shout out to Pastor Man, shout out to Marcia Burton. There's some really strong women out there that bring the best out in men that may not have been there and may not ever see that light of day if y'all waiting on him.
First of all, let me declare and decree right here and now. Solomon Tiggs got on one knee and definitely shut down
Shout
the
out to
whole
my boy.
Botanical Gardens and definitely proposed. And I'm sure Robert Mann got on one knee.
literally in the entire church, and it's on YouTube. I got receipts.
We got video proof. I just want to shout, thank you for the nice words, but nah. Let's go Solomon. What is your take on this?
I think that women shouldn't get on a knee to propose to man, but I understand why that's happening because of the culture that we're living in. We have more masculine females and more feminine men, so I can kind of understand what's going on here.
The guys are coming in hot today.
But what I will say is that if a female does propose to a guy or proposes to him before he proposes to her, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I wouldn't advocate for that. I
wouldn't
would
say get on the
definitely
knee.
want the man to propose.
Don't get on the knee.
To
I'm
the
not.
female.
I'm not
Women
saying
out here
that.
getting on
the
Curtis
knee.
Simone
I don't
man
mean to
on
say
her
that.
knee. I'm
Yeah.
snatching her up off the ground instant. You better get up off your knee.
I wasn't saying that like women should get down on one knee and with the ring and all of that stuff, but it's more like a conversation. Like, hey, what's up? Like, you want to get married or something?
No,
Like, it should be.
nobody's talking about no
That's
proposal.
not a proposal.
We're talking about getting on the knee. No, we're
Proposal,
talking
yeah,
about
that's
proposal
a
about
different-
getting on the knee.
That's
I agree
different.
that it doesn't have to be on the knee to be a proposal.
But asking-
But that is not a proposal. Like, hey, so you want to get married? That
No,
like
that's
no,
good
That's a
conversation.
good
Please.
conversation.
Yeah,
Hey, sir, I'm interested in marrying.
Yeah.
Are you interested
Are
in
you-
being
yes.
married?
Don't waste
no,
your time.
that's a conversation that
Don't
needs
waste
to
your
be
time,
had.
ladies.
And I absolutely advocate for women to be the initiator of that kind of conversation. Because what we're not about to do is be DB playing house and dating for 5 years,
Right.
and then it's like,
Come on, 5
oh,
years.
I wasn't really thinking about marriage. So what we've been doing? No, don't do that. And I think the older you get, the sooner you need to ask that question. So I'm advocating for women initiating marriage conversations.
Okay.
Of course.
I am also for men initiating marriage proposals. And the reason why is, and maybe I may be traditional in my
No, go
thinking,
ahead on traditional. Go ahead on. I
is
love it.
that men tend to be pursuers. And men tend to be chasers.
Yep.
Right?
Preach.
And when there is no chase, and
Come
when
on.
there is no pursuant,
Come on.
there is a lack of involvement or a lack of care, right? And
Yes.
so when things come too easy, men be like, I'm straight, right?
Yep.
And,
They're like a
the other thing I
challenge.
know, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, when a man knows what he wants, he knows what he wants.
Yes.
So generally speaking, a man knows when he wants to marry somebody. If he's been dating her for 12 years and there's no marriage, there's something going on within him
don't wanna marry her.
that he doesn't want to marry her.
No.
When I was
Leaving
dating my
those options
husband,
open.
my husband told me, it was probably within the first 2 or 3 months, I'm gonna marry you. I love you, and I'm gonna make you love me because I want to be with you. Period.
that's
And
what's
I was
up.
like, okay.
Yeah, no.
He
Yeah,
was
that's a
the
real
one
thing.
who pursued and chased me to
Yeah.
show me that he wanted me to marry
He's
him.
worth it.
Absolutely, and I
Yeah.
think that when you are missing that component in the dating engagement process, it absolutely affects the marriage, because then you're going back and you're like, when there's issues, well, did you really
Yeah.
want me? Well, you asked me to marry you. I ain't gotta step up. I ain't gotta da da da.
Yeah,
This
changes
is
the
your
dynamics.
idea. So I think that can
Yeah.
easily be
Yeah.
spun in a disadvantage to a woman. So
Yeah,
No.
no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I agree 100%. Let's go biblical. Okay. God could have created Adam and Eve simultaneously because he's God. He could work like that. He can build
Yeah.
and structure two people. But there was a reason why Adam was first. There was a reason why there was the whole rib exchange. All of this is connected in time. Y'all, I'm not trying to mess up the order of God, okay? If he wanted Eve to be first, he could have did that. And then we could talk proposals. I know people are like, oh, that's traditionally so. Yes, I stand in that. I stay in that because to Pastor Man's point, there are certain things about us. Yes, we're all fearfully and wonderfully created, but there are certain things that men have and certain things that women have. And I don't believe that either sex should deny these true nature tendencies. And so no. And here's the deal. Let's just be honest. When we're in relationships and stuff, it don't take that long to get to know somebody. It don't take that long to make up your mind about somebody, especially with men. And y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like with men, if you really, really want to do it, you're going to do it. I mean, Solomon was ready to get married after like a month. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not ready. I was the one like, oh, no, I don't know you like that, bro. You got to chill out. But he saw what he liked. He was attracted. I think attraction is the first stage. And then he was like, okay, now I'm ready to commit because I can look at this the rest of my life. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. But let's get to know each other a
take
little
some
bit
time.
better.
And to your
Take
point,
some
let me
time.
say this. Like, biblically, there is a model for the male being the pursuer. However, young sister Ruth was about that game. She shot her shot. She went up in that man's bedroom But ultimately, even though she was the initiator,
I was about to say,
he covered her.
I was about to
and
say,
then after she let her interest be known, it was still his responsibility to go to the court and say, does anybody want to marry her? Is she available? Okay, I am now going to be the one taking care of her. So sis, shoot your shot, but don't play the whole game.
Yeah. I was going to say the key difference was he was in the market and she presented her best self and said, hey, here am I. Grab me. That's cool. Females, do that, please. Get your hair done, have yourself manicured properly, have a nice outfit on.
Smile.
Even if you want to take it a step further.
Energy vibes.
If you want to take it a step further and say, hey, let's go hang out.
Absolutely.
We're not, that is not the point of contention. The point of contention is the marriage part.
Absolutely.
And marriage is a spiritual thing. And Christ, even if you look at the church as being his bride, these are all things that go into play. You know, Jesus came into this earth not as unisex. He came in as what?
As a male.
That he could have came in as a female. You know what I'm saying? All of these things I feel like are intentional. So who am I to change the order? And then I'm not trying to be funny, y'all, but it's just weird looking at these pictures and videos of women getting on a knee. I know everybody doesn't do that. But getting on a knee and then reaching up to the man because they taller. It's awkward, y'all. It don't look good on the camera. I'm sorry.
And my thing is, again, even in your proposal, it doesn't have to be traditional. You can propose at the house. You can propose on a boat. Dr. Seuss, you can propose on a plane. You can propose in your lane. You can propose in a boat. You can propose in a moat. Like, you can propose however you want to propose. But my thing is, like, I just think that there is a sense of, and again, Steve Harvey said something that I think is, whatever. But men generally need to provide, they need to profess, and they need to provide. And I think those two things are very important. Step one is profess. If that man cannot profess his love to you and initiate and take that step, all them other areas are going to struggle. You're going to have issues, and you're going to be having to propose for the rest of your life. You're going to constantly be auditioning to be his wife for the rest of your life, because now you're saying, look, come on, be with me, show, let me prove to you that I'm enough. When no, absolutely not. Jesus, God comes and gets the bride. He comes and gets her and takes him with us. So I just think, let that man love you. And if he's not willing to take the step to love you, he's not ready.
And waiting, and it's hard, ladies, I understand, but there is a beauty and patience in waiting on what God has for you. It's the best thing ever. So wait on the Lord. Yes, that's be like,
wait on the Lord.
You
don't
married,
wait on that man.
Of course you'll say that. No, seriously, wait on the Lord. You never know when it can happen, how it can happen, and it will. I will say this. You don't know when it can happen, so be open to it surprising you as well, because it's a nice, beautiful surprise. But ladies, let us know. I hear the men, and we heard both of them loud and clear. But ladies, what are y'all's takes on this? Should a woman propose to a man? And I'm curious if somebody has proposed and you have a story.
Now we want to hear it.
I'm curious.
But also, I want to hear from the men. Would you, you love her? Y'all have been dating. You're in it. Yeah. Would you marry a woman, or would you say yes if a woman proposed to you? You love her, y'all in the relationship, you're planning to marry her. But if she proposes first, would you still say yes? That's what I want to know.
Would you say yes?
Yeah, I would have said yes.
See?
I mean, of course I would have proposed to you before you proposed to me, but if you already beat me to the punch, then of course I would have said yes. I'm not gonna say no. It's weird.
We got one person. So let's continue on. Let's continue on this. Hey, we've had a great time with you today. It's been lively. It's been fun. Be sure to email us if you have topics you'd like us to cover. And thank you for tuning to our Cube Table Talks, where we keep it real,
where we keep it relevant,
and where we keep it raw. See you next time.
See you next time.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.